Hey there, everybody. I am joined by Andy Tlaga, and we're going to do an Endor, or I guess premiere through Endor, sort of Raltiir Ops Trooper deck, so sort of Endor themed, but not quite. So, Andy, do you want to walk us through? And one of the things maybe we've gotten some requests is if you could add in sort of some sideboard cards, like cards that to include if you have room, kind of like extra stuff. So
Sure.
Request for that.
Sure, that works. Okay, so this is Raltiir Operations. So this is for the Premiere through Endor format, which is going to be the next kind of retro league, next 6 weeks that is going to be happening. So this is a dark side deck for that. Raltiir Operations really takes off once Death Star 2 comes out. Because it really gets a lot of benefit from prepared defenses as you're starting interrupt. But this one, is still very powerful. This is one of the versions of Raltiir Operations that gets good in the Premier Death Star era, but this is kind of the prototype of that deck. So basically what you're doing is you're starting Raltiir Operations, which deploys Raltiir system. While this site up once during each of your deploy phases, you can deploy from reserve deck to Raltiir one site or non-unique Imperial. Reshuffle at each location. Each rebels deploy +2. Flip this if Imperials control at least 3 Raltiir sites and opponent controls no Raltiir locations. On the back side, while this side up, opponent's force strains are -1 everywhere, which is fantastic. At Raltiir locations, each rebel is deploy +2. It's very good. At all locations, add X to your total battle destiny, where X equals the number of Raltiir locations your Imperials occupy, which is phenomenal because you're going to be adding like 3 to 4 to your total battle destiny. Once during each of your control phases, you may use 2 force to take any card from your reserve deck into your hand, which
That's insane.
Yeah, so it has like 4 really good effects: force training -1, rebels are deployed +2, adding to your battle destinies, and searching your deck for any card and putting it into your hand. Flip this card if opponent controls at least 2 Raltiir locations. Okay. So the downside of Raltiir Operations is you just start Raltiir, which this system is pretty terrible. It's a 1-0 location. Devastator's power +1 and may move to or from here for free, which we're not even playing Devastator, so it's blank text on your side. And on light side, Tantive 4 is power +1 here, which Tantive 4 still sees play in this era, so they could deploy it there and it's power +1, but basically that's that. As far as starting interrupts go, you have Twi'lek Advisor and you have Surface Defenses. Surface Defenses doesn't really give you a lot that you want because, it gives you, there is no try resistance in secret plans, but we're going to start with Twi'lek Advisor. And depending on what you're going to start against, most of the time you're going to start Bad Feeling Have I. So you deploy this on your opponent's side of table. Luke, Leia, Han, Chewie, Lando, Yoda, and Obi-Wan are each deployed +2. Also, opponent may not play any cards with Bad Feeling in title, which doesn't really come into effect. But that means between your objective and Bad Feeling Have I, Luke, Leia, Han, Chewie, Lando's an alien, so it doesn't matter. And then Obi-Wan all deploy +4 to each of your locations, which is really tough. And if they're going to the spaceport docking bay, pilots deploy +1. So depending on what version of Leia they're playing, probably EPP Leia, they're all deployed +5 to that location, which is pretty backbreaking. So you're going to start Bad Feeling Have I. Other options you could start Imperial Arrest Order, so unique Imperials of ability less than 3, which is basically every character in your deck except for Darth Vader and this Stormtrooper Cadet, is forfeit +2. Neighbor and Analysis are limited to owner's move phase and exterior sites, and then once during each deploy phase, you can deploy docking bay. So it's a way that you can kind of get out your sites. You can get out Raltiir, pull the forest, pull the spaceport docking bay, and then next turn pull your other site and flip. Or if you think you're going to go up against the deck that's going to play like a lot of senses and altars, you could start either There Is No Try or Oppressive Enforcement, But usually against decks that are going to have a lot of senses and alters, they're going to play like Luke, Han, Chewie, Leia, Lando, Obi. So you probably still just start bad feeling, have I?
Because it's going to be really hard to get Obi out to
Right.
even draw Destiny, right?
Right. Exactly. And that should be able to buy you some time to draw into one of these and/or flip your objective and then use 2 force to go pull one out if you really need to in a pinch. But realistically, you actually want to flip, and then you want your opponent to come down to Raltiir to fight you, because this is a pure and simple beatdown deck. But before we get into all that, I'll just quickly go over some of your other locations. So one of the things that you get affected by heavily in Premier through Endor is Revolution. There's no good way to counter Revolution except for Evader, which is not immune to Sense. Crush the Rebellion makes it immune to Sense, but Crush the Rebellion's not in the format. That's in Death Star 2. So there's really no good way to fight against Revolution. So you got to assume that they're going to play Revolution on Raltiir on turn 1, because they're going to start Throne Room. So you're going to activate 1 or 2 force on your first turn. We've loaded up this deck with a few additional locations that give you 2 or more force icons. So Coruscant, it's a drain 1 system that gives you 2. You have Dagobah Cave, which they can't ever get there unless they're playing Mind What You Have Learned. You have the Death Star itself, which is immune to Revolution already and gives you 3 force. There's a Wampa Cave, which is, an interior site that, they're probably not going to go to. And last is Wraithal. And it looks kind of out of place, but this card is amazing in this deck. It's a system that says all your troopers are Destiny +1, +2 if you control. So except for Ozzel, Commander Nemet, and Darth Vader and Lieutenant Grond, these 5 characters, every character in your deck is a trooper. So they're all Destiny +1 or +2 if you control. And most of these are Destiny 2 or 3, making them either into Destiny 3 or 4 or 5 if you control it. So that's amazing. And then Tactical Support is a used interrupt, which Tactical Support is a rare out of Hoth. It's normally a lost interrupt, but it just makes it a used interrupt by just being out on the table. And lose 1 force to search through your reserve deck and take 3 troopers into your hand, which is great because you're going to go pull out 3 troopers. And that can either help you with setting up and flipping your objective, or, when we get into more of what the actual deck strategy is. Other than that, you've got 4 diamond sites that you can play to Raltiir. So you're going to probably the first one you want to get is the Forest. All your characters are immune to attrition at this location, which is very good. You have the Spaceport Docking Bay. Not that you're ever really going to be using it, but making their pilots deploy +1 is very good. You have the Prefect's office. If your Imperial leader is here, Imperials at same and related sites are each power and forfeit +1. Every character in your deck is an Imperial. So they're all going to, and you have a couple of different leaders, like you have Ozzel. He's in there because he deploys for free. There might be like one of these biker scouts, I think, is a leader, like Sergeant Narthax or something. Maybe it's the other one, Major Bursk. One of those guys is a leader. So there's a couple of different leaders you can put there. And then Spaceport Street, during your move phase, you can move free between here and any related diamond spaceport site. So depending on how you put out your sites, you can kind of move between there and any of the other diamond sites, freely. So you can move very quickly across Raltiir if you need to, which is really great. So as far as what you're trying to do is flip your objective by controlling, 3 Raltiir locations. You can condense back down onto 2 if you need to draw Battle Destiny. But basically you're trying to bait your opponent into coming to Raltiir. Once they come down to Raltiir, you're going to activate, say 10 or so force. You, at the end of their turn, play a tactical support out of and then go get 3 troopers. And then on your turn, you play another tactical support and go get 3 troopers. And then you just play a bunch of troopers. and then play Trooper Assault. So some combos that you want to try and get with troopers. Sergeant Barich, he has, when he's in a battle with your other biker scout, draw 1 destiny and subtract that amount from opponent's attrition and total power. So you have a couple of different biker scouts. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other biker scouts. Irol and I believe Corporal Drelosyn, when he's in a battle with Irol, adds a battle destiny, so that gets you 2. Sergeant Major Enfield, when he's in a battle with another Death Star Trooper, adds a battle destiny. So you have also Sergeant Torent, who's a Death Star Trooper. While he's in a battle, adds 1 to your total battle destiny for each of your other Death Star Troopers present. Corporal Grenwick's a Death Star Trooper, and so is Corporal Prescott. So you've got, a couple of different ways to add a battle destiny and also add to your attrition. Most of the other guys don't really matter. This guy, Sergeant Elsek, when he's forfeited the same side as your other biker scout, satisfies all remaining battle damage and attrition against you. Same with these Stormtrooper Cadets, which you can also play off of your objective. When he's forfeited as same side as your other Imperial leader or a non-cadet trooper, which is every other trooper in the deck, he satisfies all remaining attrition against you, not necessarily battle damage, but at least attrition, which can be very good when you're facing down an EPP beat squad of like drawing 3 or so battle destinies. You can just sack him to get all your attrition taken care of. Most of the other characters don't really matter. Lieutenant Grond, he's in here because when he's in a battle on an exterior site, all your Raltiir sites are exterior, adds 2 to attrition against the opponent for each of your biker scout / trooper, non-biker scout pairs present. So you have 6 biker scouts and you've got a bunch of non-biker scouts. So as long as he's in a battle with them, he's going to be adding multiple, he might add 2, 4, 6 additional attrition, and then couple that with the flip side of your objective where you're adding to your battle destinies. You might be facing down, with your troopers being, destiny +1 or +2, your opponent might be facing down, 10, 12 attrition easily, which will clear out a lot of characters very quickly. The last other big trooper to talk about is Sergeant Wallen. He deploys free to a battle you just initiated, so he can kind of save you some force. So what's going to end up happening is you kind of bait your opponent out. You put out like a trooper, like 2 troopers. They come down with like an EPP Luke. He costs 9 to play, so that's probably their whole turn. They battle. He hits them. You lose the trooper and, 3 or 4 other force, whatever you need to do. And then on your turn, you go get 6 troopers, some combination of biker scouts and non-biker scouts, Sergeant Wallen, guys that'll add battle destiny together or subtract from their attrition. And you play like trooper, 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 initiate a battle, trooper assault. So if a battle is just initiated at a site, each of your troopers is power +2 and immune to attrition. So it turns all your troopers into, roughly power 4-ish. Maybe more if you have an Imperial leader at the prefect's office. If you've got 6 troopers down that are each power 4, that's 24 power, plus you're probably going to draw 2 battle destinies because you go get either Sergeant Major Enfield and a Death Star Trooper, or you go get Irol and Corporal Drelosyn. So you're going to get 2 battle destinies. You're probably going to draw like an 8. You're going to add, 3 or 4 to your total battle destiny. So you're going to be at 12. So you're going to be like roughly around like power 35 to 40. And they're going to be power 5. Even if they hit your guy and they draw destiny, you can subtract from their attrition and total power. Like you're not going to lose anybody. And they're going to lose, 20-something force. And then usually that's about the end of the game. Once they lose about 20, 25 force, it's really hard to come back, especially when they need to spend like +4 to deploy to your Raltiir sites. And in the meantime, you can then just spread out and drain them. And if they ever try to come fight you again, you basically just do the same thing. You've got, like 30 characters in it, or maybe 20 characters, something 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24. You have 25 characters in here, and Vader's just in there as a good, cleanup card. Ozzel deploys for free. This guy deploys for free. I mean, Ozzel's not a trooper, but deploying for free is really good, and he's a leader, so you can throw him down at the prefect's office the turn you do go to like beat them down. Trooper Davin Felth only deploys for 1. So there's there's one of these guys also only deploys for 1. So it's very cheap to put out your characters, and then you can kind of finish them off with ability. So you're going to have 6 or 7 cards with ability, and they have to play something every single turn. And if they can only go to Raltiir, you just beat them down again. And if they don't, then they lose 2 force. Search and Destroy is in here because this deck doesn't do anything against hidden base X-Wings. You just kind of lose that game, probably. You might be able to drain them for a couple on the ground, but they're going to just cancel your drains off of a flipped hidden base. So Search and Destroy gives you a little bit of game there. Always Thinking with your stomach lets you hedge, if they're controlling a site with, a couple of guys, you can Always Thinking with your stomach and cancel the force strain, make their guy go missing. You really want to get tactical supports and trooper assaults to go through. So that's why there's a lot of sack hate. So you've got There's No Try, Oppressive Enforcement, and 2 copies of Control, because you want to get one of these through in a battle to kind of end the game. And then you have a token Space Force. Everything is ability 2. In a pinch, you can always put EPP Vader on Vader's personal shuttle. Moves for free while Vader aboard opponent must have ability greater than 5 to draw Battle Destiny at the same system. So you can, if they sit there with just 4, you can sometimes kind of catch them off guard and blow them out in space there. I just lost Vader's shuttle. But they're basically there to either control Wraithall or, go try to put somebody down to Raltiir so that you can flip if they control it, because you can't flip your objective if they control any Raltiir locations. And then against hidden base, you can deploy 2 ships, probe. If you hit, great, move, consolidate on their turn, probe. You've probably found their hidden base by that point to try and stop their objective from canceling your force strains on the ground. But otherwise, this is just a pure beatdown deck. So there you go.
I gotta say, I didn't know there's this many troopers, right? It's just seeing all of them in one place. I'm like, oh yeah, there was just troopers spread throughout, a couple in special edition. So this looks like a lot of fun. I am wondering how many people are about to use this for their premiere to Endor.
This deck gets very good in premiere to Death Star 2. 1, because you can start prepared defenses. So rather than necessarily starting Bad Feeling, because if the rebels are already deployed +2 off your objective, I keep losing cards because I keep clicking on them. But if they're already deployed +2 off of Raltiir Operations, you don't really need to make them +4, but you get Imperial Rest Order mobilization points, and then you get one other effect, which can be one of your anti-sense altar cards. And then you can, what you can do with it is you can pull Caridia, which is a system that once per turn you can use a force or lose a force, I forget, to retrieve a trooper. So you can just constantly cycle your really good troopers, the ones that add battle destinies or subtract from battle destinies, or deploy for free or something, just over and over and over and over and over again. That's really the biggest thing, is getting mobilization points, because it also really helps your activation, because then you can pull the spaceport docking bay and put somebody there and make this now and activate 3, and you don't have to play all these wonky 2-0 sites. So it really just helps streamline your entire deck, which is definitely fantastic. Plus, by the time Premiere to Death Star 2 comes out, you also have less of a threat of revolution because of Crush the Rebellion, and you get all the bounty hunters in their ships, so Zuckuss and Mist Hunter and Boba Fett and Slave 1, Dengar and Punishing 1. Plus, you can play a 4-LOM with Concussion Rifle and an IG-88 with Riot Gun if you need to, as well as Mara Jade to go help Vader attack off. So, like, Mara Jade being able to draw Destiny +4 to your battle Destiny is really good. And it lets you hold Wraithal. So you can also, if you need to, use Vader and Mara Jade as hit and run, and then play 3,720 to 1, everybody's favorite insert card, because all your troopers are like Destiny 5. So you're going to insert a numbers, and your total is going to be like 15 and your opponent's going to be at like 3. So they have to come fight you, or they're going to lose like 10 or 12 to numbers if they don't have your insight serves you well out. This deck is really, really good in Premier to the Star 2, but Premier to Endor is a little bit of a step back in power level, which I think makes it a little bit more of a fair deck to play.
Cool. Well, we'll have a light side decks for this format as well in the coming weeks, but this looks like a lot of fun to make. Andy, thanks for putting this together.
Sure.
And good luck in the league. Hope
Thank you. You too.
At 6-0. All right, I'll see everybody later and catch you next time.
Thanks. Bye.